Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? Now that the announcement has been made that Vegito Blue, the physical version, will be the next EZA happening between the vote between Rose and Vegito Blue, let's talk about this unit's current state and what the future outlook could potentially be based on, some of the recent EZAs that have occurred over the past, 6 months or so. But my first take after testing this on the Infinite Dragon Ball History event is this guide certainly needs some rework done because a lot of things could be, improved or enhanced based on the current state. The first thing I want to note is this guy definitely needs some sort of defensive enhancement because this guy is a liability in events, even like Infinite Dragon Ball History event, let alone stuff like the Legendary Goku battle. I feel like this unit would really struggle with that setting. The second take on that is the additional attack passive skill. Now, based on the current passive skill, it's a great chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, each of which has a chance to become a super attack. Now, it all sounds great and all, but if you take a closer look, according to Dokkan Wiki, it's a 70% chance of launching up to 2 additional attacks, which is fantastic. However, along with the first one being guaranteed, each of which after that has a 10% chance to become a super attack. So 10% chance is pretty damn low in my opinion, and I think with the Extreme Z Awakening, I would like to see something like Tech Vegito Blue, where the unit has a medium chance for an additional super attack. So I think with that would be absolutely fantastic. And I think that would be, honestly satisfactory in terms of enhancement toward the passive skill. Again, right now at its current state, even though it's a 70% chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks with the first one being guaranteed, each only has a 10% chance to become a super attack. So you'll see throughout this video, and it depends on, honestly, RNG, but the additional supers seem to be very, very low frequency, if you know what I mean. And for those that have been running this unit a long time, when it initially came out or whatnot, you probably would understand this. But I think at the very least with the EZA, I would love to see a medium chance to become an additional super attack. That's probably a very good sweet spot for that unit. Along with that, again, like I mentioned, it is somewhat of a defensive liability. You'll see it throughout the video where this guy has taken a lot of damage, even from a normal attack. So with that being said, I think the ability to raise attack and defense based on the super attack would be very beneficial to have. I was having a conversation with Mr. T on Twitter, I think it was yesterday actually, and he was mentioning about, maybe give this guy the ability to stack attack or defense based on, the super attack, since the other Vegito Blue units do have that function. Like the tech version obviously does have that stacking mechanic or Kaioken mechanic, as well as the strength type free-to-play LR version as well. So I think that would make things very efficient for this unit to have that ability. In addition, because in its current state is such a defensive liability, the ability to stack defense with every super attack would allow for the unit to build up defense without including some sort of flat out percent increase toward the passive. Like, let's say for example 100% to attack and defense as part of the passive skill, like just flat out. I think in comparison to that, it'd be more realistic and probably more efficient to just have a stacking mechanism where you could raise attack and defense based on the super attack. So that's my take. Along with that, again, I would love to see a medium chance to become an additional super attack with the additional attack ability and the passive skill. So outside of that, I mean, it's a pretty good unit, but those are the 2 areas I would like to see the most. I think if you do end up stacking that attack or defense based on the super attack, you don't necessarily need that damage received from normal attacks minus 30% counter with tremendous power. I don't think you would necessarily need to increase the percentage in terms of damage reduction. I think 30% would be fine as long as you stack defense along with the super attack. So again, it would be great to see that ability to just increase attack and defense over the course of the battle, especially in longer battles like Infinite Dragon Ball History or a Legendary Goku event, and then just keep the attack reduction at 30% as is, and let things take care of itself later on in the battle. So outside of that, I mean, we've got a leader skill of super type Ki +3 HP attack and defense increase of 50%. I don't necessarily know how much of an increase we're looking at here, maybe 100% max, but with a super type key +3 HP attack and defense of 100%, that's honestly still somewhat lackluster because, like for example, the transforming trunks unit provides super types 120% toward all the stats, so it wouldn't be that much of a relevant leader skill. Not that it necessarily needs to be, because a lot of the EZA units don't necessarily benefit the rest of the team based on their leader skill upgrades. In terms of super attack, I mean, it causes immense damage to enemy, and that's pretty much it. I don't know if they're, along with raising attack and defense, I don't know if we'll see any additional, functions that come about with it. Link skills I pretty much expect to be the same, like Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Prepare for Battle, Power Bestowed by God, Fuse Fighter, Over to Flash, and Fierce Battle are pretty much all common enough links that we really don't have to worry about updating or enhancing, honestly. I mean, it's good as is, in my opinion. So outside of that categories, I mean, good enough categories for me, honestly. Realm of Gods, Patara, Future Saga, Time Travelers, Kamehameha. So very versatile unit in terms of inclusion of various categories, so I don't really see any changes coming with that. Not that I expect it to, but stat-wise, I mean, HP is 15,700, attack is 16,500, defense is 9,151. I mean, if we take a look at some of the other ones, like the closest one we can compare it to is probably the Extreme Z Awakening for the Agility Super Vegito unit. Initially, stats were HP 15,750, attack is 15,840, defense is 9,625, so similar types of stats, honestly, but with the EZA, that Super Vegito unit ended up having an HP of 18,407, attack of 18,705, and defense is 10,474. I would pretty much expect similar stat increases with that type of setting. I mean, 12 keys multiplier is 150%, so I don't really expect any changes there either. So outside of, I mean, everything looks fine on paper, right? But really, and you're seeing this right now, the unit really does hurt in terms of just not being able to defend well. I mean, even with a 30% damage reduction from the enemy from a normal attack, you're looking at a lot more damage received even compared to other units, and I think that's really one of the things that really hurts this unit's functionality or usability, I guess, on a team right now. Especially on the tougher type settings. So honestly, like the unit right now, I only use on, I would say, like Battlefield or type specific Super Battle Road settings. Outside of that, I mean, the other Vegito Blue units are just way better. So even the LR Vegito Blue is, in my opinion, better at its current state. So it's a little bit outdated, obsolete. Not really the right word for that, but probably the closest thing I can use to describe the current state. But I think, there's definitely a lot of potential. Now, I don't know how much of a buff they're going to give him with the EZA. Super Vegito, the Agility Super Vegito is a good example of that. I think a lot of people were expecting a very, very broken unit with the EZA, and it was a good EZA, but it wasn't anywhere close to the level that people were expecting, I think. But with that being said, I mean, the EZA for Super Vegito did help out a lot. I mean, the unit became a lot more useful, in my opinion. So, along with boost from 30% to 35% for one turn for allies attack based on the super attack, you do get that attack and defense increase of 40% within the same turn. However, it's after receiving an attack, so that's one area where it's a little bit restricted. So typically, if you wanted to get the best out of this unit, you would have to put it in the first slot. Make sure not only that attack and defense increase applies before the super attack from Super Vegito, but the super attack itself provides that 35% to allies attack for one turn. So a lot of kinks there that a little bit limited, but I expect a similar outcome for Vegito Blue. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be overly broken like people want it to be. But realistically, honestly, if they give it, the super attack ability to raise attack and defense, along with the medium chance for additional supers, I think those two alone would more than make the unit like very good. I think those two settings, adjustments or improvements, would definitely make this unit tremendously better because, one, I mean, if you increase the chance from 10% to a medium chance, which is, I don't know, like 25% or whatever the case is, you're going to get a lot more super attacks off on each rotation. And with every super attack, you're able to build up that attack and defense. So I think those two things alone would tremendously improve the unit, and not much else would be needed outside of that. Again, damage reduction of 30%. I don't necessarily think you need to improve it any further. I mean, you certainly can, but my point being, I think if you apply that ability to stack attack and defense, you won't really need it unless it's like the early parts of the battle. So I don't know. That's I wouldn't say that's my prediction. That's more of a wish list of what I would like to see this unit become. I think with that, it would become definitely a lot better, and I would probably run this unit a lot more in the offshoot of, scenarios where I not necessarily want to use a tech version and decide to use a physical version. I mean, the clear distinction between those two units is this physical Vegito Blue does have the counter ability, so imagine the ability to stack up defense and then you're countering with tremendous power. That would actually make things pretty ridiculous, but I don't know though. It's hard to say at this point. That's ultimately my wish list of what I would like to see. I'm not a fortune teller by any means, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what Bandai has up their sleeve. But from a practical, realistic standpoint, I would love to see that. But outside of that, it definitely needs to be improved. A lot of rework needs to be done for this unit. Right now, as you saw throughout the video, it's certainly a defensive liability in a lot of settings, and honestly, the unit's taken a lot more damage than a lot of the more newer current units. So that kind of puts it in perspective that even though it was pretty broken at the time, it's certainly a little bit outdated. I hate to use that word, but it seems to be the case. But let me know what your predictions are. Let me know what you would like to see. What do you expect to happen? But we'll fire away in the comments and let me know. But as always, definitely appreciate you watching. As always, I will certainly catch up on content. We have a lot more stuff coming up for New Year's in 2020, but stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, peace out.